this is Katie Elbow-Hodera again. For Module 15, we were to discuss about gamification. So we are to answer 3 questions regarding gamification. The first question, what are your thoughts on the gamification of education? Do you feel games can be used to teach students content, or are they simply a way to entertain? And what examples can you think of to use games as your future classroom? I've I had a lot of fun I remember growing up and using um, technology games. And this was back in the 90s where they came out with the Oregon Trail that as the reading material mentioned, that was one of the games that we used to play with as younger students. And it was really educational and informative for all the students, and it was also fun and engaging. Um, So my thoughts on it is that as long as it's for the purpose of what the teacher is meant for it, as is it's to be educational for the student, it's not a bad thing. However, if it's just used, I'm sure not many teachers do it, but as like a babysitting type tool to get the kids just to sit down and just to play the game so they can prepare for other things and there is no educational background on it, then that is a problem. Do you feel games can be used to teach students content, or are they simply a way to entertain? Depends. As I mentioned, some teachers have the sole purpose of it just being educational, so the student can learn through certain things as the apps or computer-based games like the Oregon Trail. And like I mentioned, that there are some teachers that just want it as entertainment, which there wouldn't be a problem. I guess it depends on how and when they, if they prefer to use a game for entertainment purposes or just for fun. And what examples can you think of to use games in your future classroom? I've, as I mentioned about Oregon Trail many times, I like that game a lot, and there is a variety of other games that have that same background. I like providing games that has a lot to offer, makes it fun and educational. I've seen like ABC Mouse is a good one. There's a lot of other ones that are really, really good. And I had work as a substitute para, and it's really neat to see the type of apps the teachers had provided for their students. And some of these apps are actually meant for the students' needs and helps them overcome like math, the reading. So it's very nice to use things like that and to use the games in the classroom. Question number 2, what template did you use and what kind of interactive game did you develop? Was the template user-friendly? What problems did you experience? I was searching through the other templates that were given by my instructor, and I really liked just I really liked the Jeopardy style of the of the game. So here I did mine on Al Capone Does My Shirts by Jennifer Sholtinko. This is based towards off upper elementary school between the 3rd through 6th grade, depending on where they 5th and 6th grade are located regarding of the school system. Some school systems still has the 5th and 6th as elementary, but others could be as part of the middle school. So I did this book about Al Capone Does My Shirts. Al Capone Does My Shirts is basically just about a family that moves to this island called Alcatraz. The dad got a job as a prison guard and also in some other things. They also moved, not only for that, they moved to the island because there's other services that this main character named Moose, his real name is Matthew, but everybody likes calling him Moose. Moose's sister, Natalie, has some problems. she doesn't quite act like her age, and so they're trying to find services that helps her with that. And this island was one of the last chances that they had. And so throughout the book, it describes like money schemes that the warden's daughter planned, trying to sell, trying to get the her classmates' clothing washed by the cell inmates. And so that turned down as soon as the warden found out. Uh, Also, Moose has quite a few friends, not too many, but they're a decent amount for a kid his age. One of the friends he has is named Scout. He plays baseball with him. Scout asked if he could get a baseball from the inmates from the prison. So before Piper gives him one, Moose tries to find one. So Moose tries to be sneaky and he looks around this baseball field. And he eventually did find a base. No, he didn't find the baseball. He tried to find the baseball but he gave up. So during this whole time, his sister Natalie is over by the beach, and with one of the things about Natalie, she does this thing with buttons and rocks also. She likes to gather rocks and buttons and tries to sort them out. So she organizes and sorts them. When Moose came back to find his to his sister, he was worried because he saw a cell inmate named one prison mate 105. His name was Onion. So he saw him talking to his sister, and the inmate also had a baseball ready for Moose. So that was pretty much one of the scenes that occurred throughout the book. Uh, Another thing that was always troubling when you read the book is that the mother of both Natalie and Moose, she likes to pretend that Natalie is 10. Towards the end of the book, Natalie has her birthday. She had her first birthday party that had friends around, not just family, which was a big deal. It was a little bit overwhelming for her. But she was able to overcome that. And everybody, Moose was asking his parents, why do you guys keep saying she is 10? She's her development, she doesn't look 10. Then finally, Natalie's been keeping track of her real age, and she said, I'm 16. So towards the end of the book, Natalie has developed a lot of language. She matured a lot. She developed new skills in a lot of things. And so when she finally had her last interview at the school, they the she was denied for it, of course, because of her age. And I believe also gender has a lot to do with it too, since this book took back from the 1920s. And girls weren't so common back then like it is now. And so eventually Moves, being the shy type, went out of his comfort zone. He started writing letters. He first went to the warden to ask for help. Warden couldn't help him. But then he wrote a letter to one of the more popular cell inmates among the group of kids called Al Capone. Al Capone wrote back saying it is done. Al Capone was able to get Natalie into that school. So that is pretty much the story. This book is in a set of 3, a trio. I have not read the other 2, but I'm hoping to. It's really a good story. So anyway, my game is just basically a Jeopardy-style game, except it's not too Jeopardy. You see, I have vocabulary, characters, true and false, criminals, and random. So let's say if I want to pick 30 for vocabulary, I had picked what does replicate mean, and it's to make an exact copy of a thing. And so I could take it back to the main page. So this is just the overall game that was one of the templates that we were given. One of the only ones that really made sense to me anyway. And it was fun too, because I was able to create things the way I wanted to. Okay. So So the interactive game I did develop is more of a like book report type thing off of the book, and it was just a bunch of questions regarding the book. And was the template user friendly? Yes, it was really friendly. It was one of the ones that was provided by my instructor. Let me see if I could go back to the page where I got it. There was a download one. It's this one. The PowerPoint Games Wikispace PowerPoint. I believe it was this one. And so as you go there, you have options of a variety. And yep, it is this one. The one I had picked was this one, Blank Jeopardy template. It was really easy. Like I said, you just plug in all the information that you want just for that. And what the template was user friendly. I did not experience any problem. I think the only problem I had was trying to decide what I wanted to do with this project itself. But it was a fun project. I really liked it. And the last question, what are some examples of ways you could interact with PowerPoint games in your future classroom? One of the ways that I like the one way I did it, like making a more of a fun book report type thing, instead of making like a quiz out of it. I could have students just use their knowledge of what the material is about. Other ways I could do it is using like what I did with the vocabulary, if we need to do vocabulary words, as well as if we're doing, let's say, something overstates in capitals, it would be useful that way. So there's a lot of variety of things we could do just on interactive PowerPoint games. Thank you for listening. Thank you.